You're watching Filter Kaapi. My name is T.S. Sudhir. The Supreme Court verdict on the UGC case was much awaited, not just by final year university students, but also by aspirants of the JEE and the NEET. Because if the verdict favored the final year university students, it would offer a ray of hope to those writing the JEE and NEET in the month of September 2020. That's because in light of the fact that several opposition ruled states in the country are approaching the Supreme Court in the JEE and NEET case. But let's first go through what did the Supreme Court say in the UGC case. Today this was a 3-judge bench. It said states cannot promote students without holding examinations, basically shutting the door on the demand to cancel the final year examinations, basically upholding the 6th July directive which was issued by the UGC. However, it said that if any state decides that it is not possible to conduct the examinations now, for whatever reason, it could be the COVID pandemic, it could be the flood situation, they will have the liberty to approach the UGC to seek an extension of the deadline of 30th September. Remember, the UGC had said that all final year university exams will have to be concluded by the 30th of September. Point number 3, it also said that the decision by the Maharashtra government under the Disaster Management Act not to hold examinations shall prevail. So the UGC will basically have to accommodate any request that comes for postponing the examinations to conduct the examinations before the 30th of September. But for JEE and NEET, the final point about Maharashtra is quite significant because the states now are saying that the situation in their domain is not conducive to conduct the examinations, both under the Disaster Management Act in the case of floods in many states like Odisha, and Epidemic Diseases Act pointing to the COVID pandemic. So how would the Supreme Court decide in the case when all these opposition party ruled states actually approach the apex court? We need to keep in mind the following 3 facts. Several governments and political parties from Bengal to Maharashtra to Jharkhand, several states going together, political parties like the Congress, the JMM, the Trinamool Congress, the Shiv Sena going to the Supreme Court gives it a particular heft, gives it a particular weightage that the apex court cannot ignore. So therefore, the petition will have a lot of weight. But the other question that comes to mind is that can the Supreme Court or will the Supreme Court overrule its own verdict of 17th August when it gave the directive, when it gave the verdict that the examinations will be conducted on schedule in the month of September? And 3, based on what a section of states are saying, say about 7 to 8 states are saying, can it postpone the entire NEET and JEE and say let them be conducted on a later date? Now, what is the strategy of the states? Now, I spoke to Mr. V Narayansamy, who is the Chief Minister of Puducherry yesterday. Now, he was one of the non-BJP Chief Ministers who was part of the meeting convened by the Congress President Sonia Gandhi the other day. I asked Mr. Narayansamy what is really the plan of action of all the Chief Ministers, and he told me 2 things. One, that the Supreme Court petition is being coordinated by the Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh, and 2, the Chief Ministers, the different governments want the Supreme Court to review its own order of 17th of August. There is also a proposal, he said, to try and meet the Prime Minister in order to kind of request him to reconsider the government's decision to conduct the examinations at this very last moment. We do not know whether that will be a real meeting or most likely a virtual meeting, but he also was not sure whether that would really materialize, that meeting would materialize before the exams are to start on the 1st of September in the case of JEE. Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, who is not part of this group of Chief Ministers, has meanwhile spoken to the Prime Minister over phone. I also asked the Puducherry Chief Minister what he and the other CMs would do or could do in individual states. Would they not cooperate with the NTA? Because remember, as I mentioned in the last video, the NTA has written to the Chief Secretaries and DGPs of all states asking for logistical help in order to facilitate the movement of candidates and examination staff, especially in flood hit areas in particular. Also, wherever transportation facilities are not easily available, they want those facilities to be extended to all these candidates as well as examination staff. So, would the states which are now protesting not cooperate with the NTA diktat? We do not know. We do not know what the Chief Secretaries will write back to the NTA. Mr. Narayansamy said that he is seeking the opinion of his officers, and I guess most other chief ministers will also do the same, basically arrive at a consensus on what they could do. Because remember, if they actually do not cooperate and the exams are held on schedule, what it would do is to inconvenience students in their own state, and no political party, no government would really want to do that. So what's really the why media? And all eyes will now be on the Supreme Court, whether it intervenes in this state at this last minute in this particular case, and in what will be the nature of this intervention. So all eyes on the Supreme Court just at this very last minute before the exams start, at least as far as the JEE is concerned. So watch this space for more information and perspective on the JEE and the NEET story. Thank you very much for watching.